Hello, everybody, and welcome to In the Doll World. I'm your host, Georgette Taylor, and as always, I'm so excited for you to join me today. Today, we have such a beautiful guest. Her name is Nikki Graves. She is the CEO and owner of Trinity Designs Incorporated. And you, as doll collectors and doll people, you definitely might know her from her collection of dolls that celebrate the Divine Nine sororities. Thank you so much, Nikki, for joining me on In the Doll World.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm so excited to talk to you about how you got into doll making. So, could you share a little bit of about who you are?
Absolutely. So I have to be real careful when I describe how I got into dolls. I am not a collector. I have never really been into dolls. This has been a gift that God has trusted me with. And when I was laid off in 2015, He gave me something additional. But I got the original idea, I think it must have been 2008, and I wanted a doll for myself. So I tried to redress a Barbie and put on some red clothes, and it looked a mess. And I said, well, let me see if I can do this for myself, just as a doll for me, because you really can't find um, fashion dolls for sororities. You can find figurines and rag dolls, but nothing that's really indicative of who I am. And so I tried to do Barbie. That was a fiasco. So I said, well, let me see what I can do. And me wanting a doll for myself has evolved completely into something altogether unexpected and a blessing. And so I have to think about where those types of ideas come from, and they don't come from yourself. They have to come from some higher power. And so God has blessed me with great ideas, and the evolution of things I've come up with have been life-changing. And so who would have thought a single mom of two daughters would be the owner and CEO of a doll company that is on the precipice of something amazing.
I'm so excited. Well, like you said, those things come from up above a lot of the times.
They
Never
do.
just it's never just about what you're, it's never just about you. But it is about what you're going through. And I also believe it's about what's needed in the world.
Absolutely.
And those things are put into the people's hands that can, find a way to make that happen. So when you talked about you were looking for a doll for yourself, was it a specific type of doll that you were looking for that you couldn't find?
Well, most women in sororities look for something that nobody else has. And I really couldn't find a doll that was in celebration of me being a Delta. So I said, well, let me try to make one. That was a disaster. Trying to redress a doll in clothes that I really liked, that kind of fit who I was, it wasn't something I could find. And so I decided to do it myself.
So when you decided to create the doll yourself, what was the first thing that you decided to do? Because I mean, I know we definitely have that in common when it came to creating a company that started creating dolls. Because when we started the Big Beautiful Dolls, it was because we couldn't find dolls that represented plus size women. So where did you start your journey at? Like you said, I want to create a doll. What what was out there to help you to do that, and how did you find the means to go about doing that? Because back then it was not as easy as it is.
Oh
It's still a little
no.
difficult now, but it definitely wasn't as easy back then.
Yeah, finding industries to break into, because that wasn't my intention, was to break into the industry. Honestly, it was just to make a doll for me. I was being my selfish selfish ways, and I really wanted something that I was the only one that had it. And I ended up meeting a doll sculptor.
Oh,
I started
nice.
researching how to make a doll. And when you are on the right track of something that God gives you and you start to put forth your effort, He'll meet you and He'll give you more. So as I started to do research, I came across a doll sculptor who actually lived in Chicago, where I lived. And
Wow.
right. And so he was willing to talk to me, which is
Mm-hmm.
another wow. And I told him what I wanted. And as I shared the idea with a couple of my line sisters, they thought it was interesting.
Mhm.
And he began to tell me what some of the cost was. It was extremely expensive because I said, if I want something like this, surely I'm not the only one. And I
Yes.
began to poll people, and I was polling mostly deltas because that's what I am. And they really were like, that's a great idea. Let me see what you come up with. And so I was able to make a prototype with the help of a doll sculptor. And she was quite amazing. And I decided to see if I could sell her.
Okay. So from that, so when you made a prototype and you decided, okay, I'm gonna think about selling this doll. After your prototype, you then still have to get a manufacturing mold. You still have to get something in order to do that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, and I know you said it was expensive. Did you start pre-selling your doll before you created the mold, or did you come up with the money for the mold first? Because there's a lot of ways to work those things, when you're dealing with other companies outside of the US. But how did you work that experience for yourself?
Well, the funny thing is, so the doll sculptor who I met, the more steps I took in terms of my research, the more he was willing to share with me.
Nice. Okay.
And I began to research like where are dolls made, like what part of the universe are we
Hmm.
getting these dolls made? And 99% generally are made in China.
Yep.
So when I decided, okay, I want to manufacture, what do I do? Where do I go? And I
Hmm.
began to look and see that Shenzhen was pretty much a mecca of where a lot of dolls are made.
Hmm.
So I went back to the doll sculptor. I said, so I got my passport. I'm going to Shenzhen. He's like, oh,
Wow.
you've done some research, huh?
Yeah, yeah. He's like, you all in. You're all in right now.
And so he gave me some more information. So the more
Hmm.
I did, the more he helped me.
No, yeah, yeah. Total blessings along the
It
way.
completely,
Total,
because
total
sometimes
blessings.
people will say what they want to do and they don't take the steps and then they become stuck.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. But
And
like
so
you
he gave me
said,
some information.
that's great. I mean, I'm so excited that that's how you started, because I look back on the journey that we had, and it was similar because we literally I found a person that had a doll company in Maryland, and we lived in New York. So we were able to drive to
Oh,
Maryland
wow.
to talk to the person, and it wound up being Percy Newsome from Integrity Toys. He was the one who kind of started us on our journey. We sat down with him and talked to him, and he shared the person who did sculpting for him. He shared his manufacturing company with us.
Wow.
So I think you're right. I think when this idea is, you're blessed with this idea and it's sent to you, and you start to do the work, those things show up for you. And now, granted, it may not show up in the time that you want it to happen, but it's just things like
Georgette.
things like things line up for you. So let's talk about when you thought about making this to the time that you actually got it done. Because I know it took a couple of years. And I
It
think a
did.
lot of times people think, oh, I have this idea, I want to make a doll. They see all these doll people on the show and they think, I just want to make a doll, and really don't understand the time, that it takes to actually generate that doll. So how
Well,
long did that
it
take
took
you?
me about 2 years
Hmm.
to actually generate a full prototype with a factory partner, and I debuted her at our Delta Sigma Theta National Convention in 2010.
Hmm. Okay.
And I created quite a bit of buzz on social media, and I took pre-orders at
Okay.
convention.
Oh, nice. Okay. So that was really good that you took pre-orders. So when you created this doll and you went through the process, what did the doll look like? Like, who did you use to use the face for that doll?
So she has my face because I'm free. So what
Yes, I
better
know that's right.
face? What better face than mine? So
Yes,
my face is free and it's my company. So
right.
I opted to do my face. And so
Hmm.
I didn't have to pay a molding fee for me as a royalty.
Right.
And
Right.
that was the easiest way for me to go about doing that.
Yeah, that's true. It's so talking to you is just it's so exciting for me because it's similar paths, and I'm so excited about that because literally we use Orgy's face for the doll
Really?
because we literally was like, we cannot afford somebody else's face. We couldn't
Right.
afford to pay royalties or anything to them, and we knew that we just kind of figured out that it was going to be successful because there was no dolls like that before, and we were like, yeah, we can't afford to be paying other people. Not that we didn't want to, but financially it was just a little tough. So i
Absolutely.
understand i understand using your face. Have you decided to use other faces in your dolls?
Not
Mhm.
for the sorority because
Okay.
you can paint them to look very different.
Yes. Yes.
And the face of the Zeta doll, the Sigma Gamma Rho, and the AKA are all mine, but they don't
Mhm.
look like me. They can have the same face. Look at Barbie.
Yeah,
Her
that's
face
true.
is everywhere.
That's true.
And it's the one face.
That is true. That's true. I mean, when we did Hispanic, a Black, and a Caucasian, and when you
Okay.
look at them, you wouldn't think that they were the same face either, because of the painting and the hair
Absolutely.
color and things like that. So I definitely understand that. So you're running an amazing company. Okay, so you started doing you did the release of the doll at the convention,
Mhm.
and you said you started taking pre-orders. Were there enough pre-orders then for you to create, to start manufacturing?
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yes.
great. That's wonderful.
Yes. Some factories really expect something different from certain companies,
Hmm.
but I was able to partner with a company that would let me do a small run,
Hmm.
which
Okay.
a small run to a factory is 500.
Hmm.
500 was a lot for me.
Yes, because the cost
And
of the doll per doll is
oh yeah,
way expensive, right? At
very
500.
expensive because
Hmm.
you also have to, when you do injection molding, you have to pay for the mold, the plastic mold, and then there's the production mold. And so you've spent close to $18,000 in having sold a thing just in molding.
Just in molding
Mhm.
alone. Yeah, I mean, and then of course, you have to spend time with the design. So when you did the first doll, that was just one outfit, right?
Yes.
Did you do several outfits, or when did you start creating other outfits for the doll?
Well, the first edition, she was a little different
Hmm.
because it was the first one. We took her to a different level. She actually sang. She's the only one that's had a voice, and her voice was amazing. And so she had a song that I had someone make for me for her,
Hmm.
because the other songs that are Delta related, of course, are proprietary.
Right.
So I
Right.
had someone in the studio make a song for me, and we had audio, and that was on top of the world for her.
Wow, that is so. I don't know why I didn't know that. That is so cool. So when you created your second doll, the other, because I know you have 9 of them.
I've done all of the sororities at least twice. Plus
Mm-hmm.
I've done Eastern Star. But I've done
Wow.
some dolls 3 times.
Okay. All right. So when did you start including other dolls?
I think after I did the first one for me as
Hmm.
a Delta, then I said, I think they might like one too. And so I did a first edition, which all of them had on a dress,
Hmm.
and they all had a song. And so it was something. And with the first edition, most doll manufacturers never go back to the first.
Hmm.
Once you miss it, then you've missed it.
You
And
missed it,
so
right?
I've had many people ask if I would bring her back. And I always say I think about it, but probably not. But
um,
something I did that was different was she was also numbered. And so
mm,
there was this, and I only numbered the Delta doll first.
okay.
I didn't order the other ones because she was my very first one. So
Mm-hmm.
she was a bit different. She was super special. So I had to
Mm-hmm.
do some super special things for her. So
Mm-hmm.
she was numbered. And so I had people requesting, can I get number 99? I want number 22. And so it offers something different to
Yes.
something that had never been made before.
Okay, so when you started the company, you didn't know anything about dolls, pretty much,
Nothing.
right? You didn't collect dolls or anything like that. So what were besides financial? Okay, we know because that's a big challenge. What were the other challenges that you were facing when you started manufacturing your dolls?
Well, sometimes you meet people that don't mean you any good. And I had someone in my very first year, she took my doll and I had to start over. And she became like unreachable. And I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, but the funny thing was, I went to church. And for those who believe, there was a prophetic word for me. And the word was, you're going to have to start over. And I'm like, I done came too far. And this is before I knew she had taken the doll. So when he told me, I'm like, I'm crying. I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. And sure as I don't know what, I find out that this lady has taken this doll and I only had one.
Oh,
But she took the prototype and I had to completely change her entire outfit
wow.
so that if she made it, I would know.
That you would know, right? Yeah.
But I was devastated. But when God gives you some inside intel, you got to be okay with it. And so
Yeah.
I was okay after I got over the shock and I was able to transition to another factory partner. It
Mhm.
was okay.
Yeah, but when you're going through it, it's not okay. You're right. When
Absolutely.
you're going through it, it's like what the. Okay, you know what? Like, I thought I learned enough lessons, but okay, I'm assuming that I have some more to learn. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, yeah, that would have been devastating.
It
But
it was a part of what was supposed to happen.
yeah, that's true. That is true. To make you see that, like you said, at the end of the day, it's hard to trust people. I'm just gonna say that.
Mhm.
I know people want to believe you should trust everybody, but that's mm, that's
Not at
sometimes
all.
sometimes not the case. And sometimes it's unfortunate that it's people who are closest to you, that they see something, I guess, and they think that if they get it, it's going to be just as successful. But one thing we
Right.
definitely do know is that if it's something that is given to you, then only you can really make that happen.
That is true.
You know what I mean? They can't make that happen because it
Absolutely.
really wasn't given to them. I mean, you either invite them in on the journey, you know what I mean? Or and if you do invite them in, then they're there for certain reasons and not necessarily all the time to go all the way with you.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm glad you were able to get past that and, like you said, learn the lessons and trust in your belief, in your faith that this was for a reason, and
Absolutely.
that you can move forward with that. So you have two daughters. What do they think about that, about what you are doing?
So there's always a conversation with why was the company named after the oldest?
Mhm,
Because my oldest daughter, her middle name is Trinity. And so the
mhm.
youngest is like, Mom, you did me so dirty.
Where's my name at?
And so I apologize, but I don't really have another answer for
That's
her.
funny. That is
So
funny.
they're like most children of parents who have a business.
Hmm.
They really aren't all in until it's big. And
Hmm.
so do they help me? Absolutely. Do they
Right.
ship dolls? Absolutely. Do I need them? Absolutely. But is it what they want to do necessarily? No,
Right,
not really.
right. Yeah, yeah. But they will see, and that they have the pride of what it is that you're doing. And
Absolutely.
children don't ever just come out and say that sometimes, but they see what you've gone through, they see what you're going through, they see how you're continuing to make this business successful for you and for them. So that pride is always instilled, and it may
Yes.
not be till years later where they say, "Oh my gosh, I was so proud of you, for doing that." You know what I mean?
You're
So
like, really?
really, you didn't act like it, right? So I want to talk about what I want to talk about too is representation and how important it is to have African Americans in the doll manufacturing field and representing, not just the dolls that they create, but the businesses that they grow, and the companies that they can establish. And I think that's really important because like anything, if we don't see ourselves there, sometimes we don't believe it can happen.
Right.
So how does that affect you having a doll company that represents, African American dolls, and you are a woman of color? How does that make you feel? And do you feel a responsibility in a way? I mean, because it's, I, yeah. How does that work for you?
I think I have created a space for women and girls to have an expectation of excellence. I think because we choose our faces to represent us, it is received differently. And I won't bring up competitor names,
Right.
but it's different if you actually have a doll that has Black features as opposed to one that's just colored brown.
Mm-hmm.
And we are in a season which has been long lasting for a while, that we are really embracing and supporting Black businesses, because we really have the foundation of giving us something for us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And for me to be able to share a gift that's been given to me with the spirit of excellence that I endeavor to do, because I don't make one doll any better than the other.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, there are some that aren't in the organization I belong to that I think are bad to the bone,
Mm-hmm.
because I want them all to be at the same level that I would do for myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think we have a different expectation when we enter a space where we are providing a product. My product, because I'm so visible, I don't have the room to not be excellent, because they can easily find me on Instagram or on Facebook and provide me some feedback that could probably be damaging.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I endeavor to provide a product that is unprecedented, that is excellent, and that everyone is satisfied. I think I've had one dissatisfied customer.
Wow.
And she was dissatisfied because she thought the doll was porcelain. And I'm like, everything on the website says plastic.
Right. Right.
So that's the only
Mm-hmm.
customer, because I really try to put a product out that is indicative of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And for my people, they deserve that.
Right. They do deserve that, and they do deserve to see, women and men of color, running and manufacturing doll companies.
Absolutely.
Because it's far and few in between of us who do that. I mean, we know it's financial, first of all, because it does take a lot of money to do that. But the fact that people are doing it, and people are seeing who's out there that is doing it, gives everybody who wants to play in that field, better opportunity to know that they have somebody that can mentor them, or they have somebody that they can go to if they need, help in that situation, or understand just understand what they have to go through to create a doll.
Absolutely.
So let's talk. Speaking of your doll, so let's talk about your journey on Shark Tank, which is one of my favorite shows. So I mean, that is like a favorite show of most entrepreneurs, right?
Yes.
So let's talk about how did you get to becoming part of Shark Tank?
Well, I applied, I believe, twice. And the second go round, I got to, I think, the third round, where you fill out this extensive application and you sign lots of disclosures and disclaimers. And at round 3 is when you get selected or deselected to go on.
Okay.
And I think because my product was so niche market, it really wasn't for the mass audience.
Okay. Now, do you say it was niche market because it was just for the sororities?
Yes.
Okay.
I understood it, and I appreciated the experience, because it gave me an opportunity to learn how to get my pitch together.
Yes.
How there are so many legal things you have to be aware of from the part of the investors, and then for your safety. So I appreciated the experience. Was I a little hurt? But I understood. I don't have a product right now today that is for everyone.
Right.
But that's changing soon.
Okay, I'm excited. We're going to talk about that. Okay, so but I do appreciate you saying that you did get value learn about what it is that you need just to be able to run a business. And if you are looking for investors, what is needed and what are they be asking for, which you probably wouldn't have known that if you weren't in that environment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very cool. All right, so now let's talk. You said we're gonna have dolls that are not so like that will be more mainstream. Okay,
Yes.
so what are your collections consist of now, and what are you looking to do next?
So right now I am on the third edition of Delta and AKA. I've only done two editions
Mhm.
of Sigma Gamma Rho. I've done three of Zeta Phi Beta also.
Okay.
And so I like to alternate from maybe like right now we have the jeans and the line jackets with customization.
Mhm.
And so I'm going into suits.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah. So I'm going into
Nice.
suits for the fourth edition of the Delta doll. And
Mhm.
it is something that I've never done, but she's something to behold.
Oh, well, that's so exciting. Suits are going to be awesome. You can do so many things with that.
You can.
Wow.
And then, in 2015, because I mentioned earlier, I was laid off from a healthcare management position.
Mhm.
I've never not had a job, and
Mhm.
I was off for almost 18 months. And during that time, when you're not working, you have a lot of free time.
Mhm.
And God gave me something to do for children.
Oh, nice.
I can remember even like where I was in my home when he was speaking to me, and he's like, "This is what it's gonna be called." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I have a whole vision on an 18-inch children's doll, which should be ready for 2023.
Wow, I'm so excited. I was literally myself. My second question, well, not my second. I've asked you so many, but my next question was gonna be: are you going to branch out of the sorority type dolls? Right.
Absolutely.
That is so cool. Oh my goodness. So I'm so people are just so excited to see that, especially for an 18-inch doll for children, because the more dolls we get that represent who we are, the better, so
Yeah, I
so
think
I'm
people will
excited
be
about
very
that.
surprised at the theme.
Hmm.
Um, without giving too much
Oh,
information.
come on, it's just me here. That's it.
Let's just say that each doll celebrates something about the child that is amazing. Whether it is that they are brilliant at science,
Hmm. Hmm.
maybe they love politics, maybe they are amazing at ballet.
Right.
It's a celebration of things that these children love, and it's
So
highlighted in each doll that I bring out. And then they're all
nice.
mixed together with relationships to each other.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh,
they're
that's
cousins,
nice.
friends, and
Yeah.
they're multicultural.
Oh, very nice. That is wonderful. Oh, wow. Okay. So when you introduce the dolls, I'm so excited now. You have to be back on the show just before you do that. So when you introduce the dolls, are you introducing one? Are you introducing like three or four at the same time? Like, have you decided how you're going to do that?
I'm introducing the first three.
Okay. Okay. The first three. All right.
First three, there's one, she is a dedication to my departed aunt who was a dog collector.
Oh, okay.
And
Nice. That's so sweet.
without giving too much of the dedication away, because my family doesn't know yet. But she is a celebration, really, of just Black love for children who love dolls.
That is so sweet. Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow. That's heart. That's really, really heartwarming right there. I'm gonna say.
And
I'm
I
excited.
think for children, when they see her and her partners in crime, because it's her two cousins, they're going to be able to identify
Yeah,
with these little girls very easily.
very easily. Okay. Well, we're gonna be looking for that. So I know you said 2023, but I know the process of getting things done. So
Yes,
it's you can't say January 20. I mean, like, look, we have to figure that out along the way too.
absolutely.
Um, so I mean, I know we talked about challenges. What do you believe are one of the well, not one, but few of the triumphs that you've had in building not just a doll, but building a doll company?
I think for me, the biggest triumph for me was establishing an amazing relationship with a factory partner. I was able to go to China by myself, which people think that was really crazy, but I did. And they were amazing to me. One, being a Black woman, sometimes you hear stereotypes of how they treat you. It was nothing like that.
Mm,
They were very welcoming, very hospitable, and I had an amazing time. And I had a chance to walk the factory floors
hmm.
to see how they make all of these products.
Right.
And so when we think that everything is automated, no, it's people literally painting on eyebrows and painting on lipstick. And it's literally a manual process. So
Yeah.
it gives you a different appreciation to manufacturing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It gives you definitely appreciation of what they do to bring your dolls to life, you know. So
Mhm.
yeah. Well, that's a really good triumph because I think that is, I mean, that's one thing that is very key to you being successful in the doll company is having a good relationship with the people
Absolutely.
who produce your dolls. Once that's broken down, then it's, like you said, you have to start all over again. And it's not easy. It's not easy finding a company that you can work with that can produce the kind of work that you want to have them produce. So
Absolutely.
so yeah.
Another
So
triumph would be when God gives you something, sometimes you think it's all on your shoulders to accomplish the goal.
mm,
I promise he always meets me where I need him. There have been times where I had a purchase order due for $30,000 and I'm like, okay, Lord, what you gonna do? Because I don't have $30,000 because making dolls is not cheap.
yes. Say that again, sister girl.
But every time it happens, I always get nervous. And I
Mhm.
know he's like, would you knock it off? I got it. But every time a purchase order comes through, I'm nervous.
Right.
And he always makes provisions for me because I got to remember this is something that he gave me. He's not going to get me this far to leave me in it with no way to accomplish what he has for me to do.
Right. He's not going
And
to
so
let you
he
fail.
always comes through.
Yeah, yeah, that's the truth. Well, because and at the end of the day, you always come through, for yourself.
Right.
And I think that's what's important. I think that he sees that, that you still come through for you and for your family. And so those things are provided, like you said, because he was the one who planted the seed. So,
Absolutely.
he sees that you're actually watering it. So that's cool.
It is. It's such a blessing to eat. I can remember when I got my first shipment, I was literally in tears.
Oh, what did you do when you first opened the box and you saw the prototype? Because me
I
and
was
Audrey,
taking
oh my goodness.
pictures.
Yeah.
I took pictures of the truck pulling up.
I, I remember when we opened our first box, when we first got the clay mold of it first, the sculpture of it. And we opened it up and it was just like, she had no eye, nothing, and it was just
Yeah.
like, oh my God, this is beautiful. And then when we got the mold, like you said, the prototype, we got the mold sent back, the wax mold. It was just clear, no drawing, just a
Right.
face, with like the eyes carved out, and we were more excited. It was just like, it's the kind of thing, face only a mother could love, pretty much. You know what I mean? Because it was like, what is this? Like, I don't know, but it's beautiful because it's something that you thought of, or not you thought about. It was something that was God given to you, and you created it, and to something that's tangible.
But to
You
see
know?
something
Yes,
that you have in your mind
yes,
and then you put it on paper with sketches, it's an unbelievable feeling
yeah.
to actually get the boxes in and you're like, this is
This is
crazy.
crazy, right? This is what I'm doing now. Okay. Oh my goodness. Right. So, okay. So I want to ask one more. I want to ask one more thing. So, as artists and as entrepreneurs, we always want to do something that, yes, that brings us joy. But of course, we want to do something that's financially successful for ourselves. And I think a lot of people who are creatives sometimes don't believe that you can be financially successful doing what it is that you love to do. So, is what you're doing currently is that financially sustain your lifestyle, or is that something that is just an addition to what it is you do outside?
It does not sustain me.
Okay.
Would I like it to be? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the season that I'm in. And I have to respect the process. For
Mm-hmm.
me, I think the sorority dolls were a stepping stone for me to get to the the children's dolls.
Right.
And I think because my following has grown and I've had 10 years to really grow my fan base,
Mm-hmm.
prove my quality. Many people have asked me over the years, are you going to do a children's line? I'm like, no. And then when he says, now is the time, and
Mm-hmm.
he began to give me companies to research to show me the financial portion of where they were able to do well, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, this might be where profitability shows up because
Mm-hmm.
in transparency, I have not been able to take off work for a week. That's not
Right.
the kind of business this has been for me.
Right. Yes.
Does
I
it keep
understand that.
the maintenance of Trinity Designs going?
Right.
Yes,
Yes.
but I've had to loan my company money forever because
Forever and
sometimes
ever.
it
We
needs help.
understand. Yes. Yes.
And so I think that profitability is on the horizon.
Mhm.
It's just going to be differently.
Well, that's very good. I'm glad you shared that because I think, like you said, a lot of times people think, oh, well, because I have this now and it's a little bit successful in a way, right? In certain areas of your life, that is what it's supposed to be. Like that's what's going to give you what it is that you need. But again, it's about growing and it's about expanding and it's about moving forward. And maybe what you're doing currently, yes, creatively may not be, like you said, the things that's going to set you up financially. But because you're in the process of continually to do that, then it may be an offshoot or something else, of what you're doing that's going to bring that finances into your life to make it, to make it a little bit more comfortable for you and your family. So I
And that's
definitely
my
I
hope
appreciate that. Yeah.
because I think the premise of what the dolls represent and the action plan that I have to offer them, I think it is where my next phase will be very different.
Hmm. I could definitely see that because now, like you said, now it will no longer be a very niche. It'll be open to a much more a wide stream of people, whereas the dolls that you were doing before wasn't. It
Yeah,
wasn't
and
wasn't as mainstream.
you can't even because of the proprietary nature of sorority dolls, there are
Hmm.
places you can't even sell them.
Right. Yeah.
So it's very exclusive.
Hmm.
And so with children's dolls, it's not really exclusive because it's available to everyone.
To
So
everyone.
the lack of exclusivity will create a different stream of
Stream
income.
of income. Right. Exactly. Exactly. Okay. That is so cool.
But I'm
Well,
gonna still do sorority dolls because it's my first love.
right. I understand that. I totally get, and I would definitely still do them too if I was you. I mean, that's like you said, that's something that's passionate, for you. And it's really why, the dolls were created in the first place
Yes.
was because of that, so they have to stay true to that as well. So, but
Yes.
I just want to say that I'm excited about your growth and I'm excited about your new journey coming up and I'm just excited to talk to another person who has created a doll company because I know the process and I know what goes into that and I know what goes into sustaining that, not just financially, but also emotionally and faithfully. So I really commend you for all the work that you've done and what you are continuing to do. And I'm really just so excited and honored to have you on the show
Thank you.
and looking forward to seeing what you create next. So um can you just share with the people out there how they can find your amazing dolls and how they could probably follow you so they know what's happening next?
Sure. My website is Trinity Designs Inc. Instagram is Trinity Designs Inc. and Twitter is Trinity Designs 7. So I'm pretty consistent with keeping the name in the forefront. And I think I want to share one thing with them.
Sure.
It is 2022. I've been at this for more than 10 years. And I don't love it any less because I haven't made it big. I am inspired to trust the plan. I do my part and then God does his. And I know in the end, he will be glorified because I promise you, what is to come is something amazing. And so if he's giving you a dream, you got to keep watering it and trust that the dream he gave you is for you.
I can't say anything else. Can't say anything else, Nikki. That was brilliant. That was beautiful. That was inspiring. And yeah, it's pretty much what you said there. You know, you have to always water those dreams and keep and keep moving forward and believing that, like you said, what was given to you is given to you, and only you can make that happen.
Absolutely.
And but in the same process, other things show up to help you to make that happen. Where you can't see it doesn't make a difference. As long as you keep moving forward, it's going to show
That's
up
the
for
truth
you.
right there.
Well, thank you so much, Nikki. It really has been a pleasure. And thank you so much for being in the Doll World with me. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on and share a little bit about your story and about who you are and about where you're going with your amazing dolls. And I'm looking forward to amazing things happening for you.
And I thank you, Georgette. I know we've been trying to connect for some time. And your patience has been unending.
It's all good. It's all good. I'm happy to have you here. Whenever you were able to do it, I wanted to be available for that. So thank you so much again, Nikki, for being on.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for joining me in the Doll World. Bye.